Joe Robe. You may have never heard this name before. Joe Robe, who is known IRL as John Robert Bell, was a former TikTok celebrity. Joe Robe had over 4.5 million followers and 171.8 million likes, so he was pretty well known on TikTok. He was a celebrity known for making many commentaries and beefs with that vegan teacher. A lot of people started to follow him because it was understandable a lot of people did not like her and her teachings on YouTube. Now, what spurred a lot of people to follow Joe Robe afterwards was his constant commentary on being politically correct while interacting on social media. The ironic aspect of this is that he himself was never PC when using his own social media platform. In fact, he used it to stalk quite a few of his own followers and send them some pretty creepy messages. He is a TikTok creator that is known for having always kept things PC when it was his mission to make social media feel like a safe place again, according to his own quotes concerning his channel. Born on August 13th, 1993, he was apparently 27 years old at the time that he started using TikTok in June 2019 and garnered his huge following. His two accounts were known at Joe Robe and at Joe Robe IRL. During this time, he accumulated over 5 million followers. So what exactly are the allegations against Joe Robe? Well, they slowly began to come out as he was being investigated by a fellow YouTuber who I like myself, known as Papa Gut. Papa Gut started to notice some pretty creepy things.
This is John Robert Bell,
Joe Robe.
27-year-old, maybe 26-year-old, talking to a 17-year-old. The fact that you have his number is already very questionable to me. It's incredibly disgusting to do any of this, to talk to underage people, try to get them to give you BDSM tests.
I kind of agree with you. It's sounding a bit weird. I don't like the sounds of that. Apparently, he's working at a church with has access to kids, and he has also sent some pictures or something.
So one of the most concerning things that people bring up about Jorobe was that he was often seen mingling with younger kids, minors.
John would even join group Zoom calls with people aged 15 to 19. John would have these people take BDSM tests and have them share their results.
Yes, you heard that right. This man, 27 years old, begins using TikTok to supposedly do politically correct statements on how to treat the opposite sex, how to intermingle while in social situations, how to ask for consent when doing things like getting a smooch from a nice girl you like, church-going ways, and how to treat humanity in general and give them the right passage to understand each other and communicate properly without wrong touching and leaving space for the Holy Spirit. Oh yeah, and he's also in chats with 15 and 17-year-olds asking them to take a poll on a BDSM test that he sent them over SMS. So you creeped out yet? Well, let me tell you, the allegations get a lot worse. And even though I say allegations for legal reasons, we've got some pretty nasty proof and posts to show what exactly Joe Robe has done. Starting with the TikTok user Dylan, also known as DYLG16, who has spoken out on TikTok about Joe Robe. During the video, which I'm about to play in just a bit, Dylan called Joe Robe one of the biggest hypocrites he has ever met in his life. He said that Joe Robe DM'd him and tried to get him to meet with him at a B&B for his 18th birthday. And man, this gets nasty. Just listen to the message this kid got.
It will be about one of the biggest hypocrites I have ever met in my life, Joe Robe. Here's a picture of him if you don't know him by his name. John is a disgusting and terrible hypocrite who abuses his platform by using his clout to groom and prey upon underage boys. He has done this to multiple people, including me. John first followed me whenever I had about 30,000 followers and joined my live stream and asked for my Snapchat, so I gave it to him. After Snapchatting for a few weeks, I invited him to a Zoom call with me and my other TikTok friends, which we did daily. After about a week of John joining the Zooms, he asked me if I wanted to get an Airbnb with him on my 18th birthday, which was over 3 months away. At the time, I thought it was a good idea, and initially, it was supposed to be with other people. This is him asking me who we should invite. After a few more days, I realized those were not his true intentions. He started to send me links to one-bedroom Airbnbs, and he offered to purchase me alcohol if I went. And this is him talking about the one bedroom, and I was like, could we find one for like 2? That would be better. As you can see, he immediately changed the subject. A little over a week goes by, and then I decide to invite one of my IRL friends to the Zoom, and this is what John sent me. He knew that I did not want to get the Airbnb, so he thought if he invited one of my IRL friends, I would want to go. That's him asking when he was going to turn A&B for months until he just finally stopped. During one of the Zooms with all of my TikTok friends, John thought it would be a good idea to have us all take a BDSM score test and send him our results so he could see our kinks. Keep in mind, the youngest was 15 years old and the oldest were 19, and there were only 2 19-year-olds and everybody else was 17 and below. There were 12 of us. A few months later, in the Zooms, my friends would go into separate FaceTime calls, and it felt like me and John were always left out, and he tried to convince me that they were talking about me and that they weren't my real friends and that he was my only real friend. It worked, and I believed him. A few days later, I got a FaceTime call from all of my friends, and I answered, and in those FaceTime calls, during the Zooms, they were talking about how John was grooming me, and whenever they confronted me with this, I was very defensive. A few hours later, I called back and talked to them, and I finally realized that John was grooming me. I decided to cut John off and not confront him about anything. I didn't say anything for the past 8 months because I thought I was the only one until recently I found out that there are multiple people that John has groomed. John does not deserve to have any type of platform because if he does, he will continue this behavior and will not stop preying on teenagers. He's a disgusting and terrible person.
Now, here's where things really start to get even more shady with Joe Robe. So, what Joe Robe decides to do after this is come out and say that he would have never ever sexually assaulted anyone or ever attempted to send anyone nasty messages because he himself is a victim of sexual assault. Joe Robe then tries to put the blame on Papa Gut, saying that Papa Gut sent him nasty and crude messages on Discord. What Papa Gut had sent him was his very own messages that you just saw in Dylan's post, and asked him, did you actually send these messages? If you did, this is very creepy and very weird. Stop sending this kid messages. And that is the sexual messages that Papa Gut sent him. He's using his own messages as the nasty thing sent to himself, the ones he created himself. Imagine that, putting evidence out there getting yourself caught, and then using that said evidence to say, oh, I didn't do this, somebody else did this. Papa Gut probably wrote these up and sent them to me. That's not how it works.
Break from posting on TikTok, but I wanted to talk about my friend Aaron. Both Aaron and I felt forced to share our stories of surviving sexual assault with the millions of people on this app. And so we did. And while many people showed their support both publicly and privately to us,
They don't care.
there are also people who decided to take advantage of the situation for their own gain.
That's not what people were doing. This is fucking bullshit. Oh, people are trying to take advantage of the situation. What? The situation? The situation of you not talking about it when your whole platform is talking about it.
Now, if you didn't catch it, when Papa Gut played that little clip from Joe Robe, you hear Joe Robe say, my friend and I who went through sexual assault didn't want to share our personal message because we thought that would be hurtful to other victims out there. And you're probably wondering, wait a second, what is he talking about his friend? Well, guess what? Joe Robe, in his past pastoral works at the church he had worked at before, had a friend named Aaron. This friend named Aaron also was on TikTok and was also messaging underage kids. He was also fired from the place he was working at, as was Joe Robe fired from the place that he was working at. Both of them fired because they were having unsettling, unnatural relations with the kids who were going to that school. That's right, he has a past history of being a creepo What a big surprise. In fact, his friend Aaron had to completely get off of TikTok because he was getting so much for harassment and what he was doing to other people. Here's his little clip now.
Gonna come back to TikTok. It wasn't putting me in a good spot. I felt that with TikTok, my ego was super inflated, and I felt like I was invincible, I was unstoppable, I couldn't make any mistakes, and it resulted in me making the biggest mistake that I think I'll ever make. So I'm gonna be off.
Buckle up. Let's talk about it. For those of you that do not know, when I was a teenager, I was sexually assaulted myself. Not once, but twice. But what I can't seem to understand is how in one breath you can say you will not say his name because it's triggering to your friend Aaron, but by the very same token, you keep up a picture on your Instagram of said guy who assaulted her. But herein lies a bigger issue. An issue with the fact that you have no problem calling out problematic men. But it seems like the problematic man is your friend and you're a little quiet. I want the women that follow me and that consume my content to understand this. If I had someone that close to me, that I still have a picture up with them, after knowing that they committed rape toward another person, I'd call them out immediately. Not be quiet. You don't have to talk about your trauma to call him out.
27-year-old man in a Zoom call with 15 to 19-year-olds asking them to take BDSM tests. Now, I am a 31-year-old man, and I'm going to tell you that I have nothing in common with 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18, 19, 20, even upwards of like 25. I have very little in common. So I find it questionable that you would even associate yourself with 15-year-olds. Now, I understand the nature of Discord, and like a lot of times the mods for Discords are younger people, and I have those mods as well. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I've never pulled them into a Zoom call and asked them to take.
So what you're starting to see now is a lot more other TikTokers and YouTubers come out of the woodwork and start to really scream at this guy, and he deserves it. You know, good on them for doing so and calling this predator out. But what gets even worse is after they do this, they luckily give the bravery to other victims to come out, and they start confessing their stories to YouTube and TikTok, and it just starts flooding all sorts of social media, and people start finding out what a complete predator Joe Robe and his friend Aaron really were. And guys, just a trigger warning, I'm going to play a few of these, and it's pretty gross what this guy was trying to do. He's definitely someone who needs to be kept off of all sorts of social media.
I'm Molina. A lot of you guys won't know me, obviously, but I wanted to come on here, especially as Papa Gut and I Speak are going to be posting their videos, and talk a little bit about my story with Mr. J. I don't really feel comfortable saying his name, given his platform and everything. And I wanted to talk, like I said, about my experiences and my stories, So I met this creator almost a year ago through a group chat of kids from the age of 13 to around 18, maybe one or two kids who were 19. And there was a very large power dynamic even then, where he obviously was not only the largest platform in the group chat, but the oldest by almost 10, 11 years, because he was 26 at the time and I was 16. Jay and I started Snapchatting because I was like, oh, he's cool, and we started talking. Or when there was the Papa Gut and other situations with Jay where he was called out, and Jay and I had been on a call when that whole thing was very large, and he was essentially trauma dumping onto me to try to kind of keep me in what I think was his grasp. And alongside that, he would then make comments and Zooms with a lot of the other kids who had experienced this, making sexual innuendos about certain people or just himself, and trying to get us to call him hot, and just a lot of other scary, uncomfortable things that should not happen. Yeah. Alongside that, he'd also make promises about getting Airbnbs and meeting up with us, and alongside that, he promised alcohol and hot tubs. And at the end of the FaceTime or the Zoom group that we were a part of, he started telling me that he was hated by the group, and that he had such a big platform that something was happening with that and people were either jealous or stuff like that. And he made me believe that, like, the whole group was horrible people who hated him and I, and it was really just not good. These are just my experiences. You'll probably hear other people's experiences as well.
Originally, I wasn't going to make this video about Joe Robe, but a lot of stuff has come up in the past couple days that I feel like I almost have to. It's gotten to the point where so many people are DMing us and telling us stories about their experiences with Joe Robe too, so I feel like I want to help back those up and be able to have this guy finally gone. And if you don't know the situation with Joe Robe, pretty much what happened is that a bunch of minors. And a lot of the people that are DMing us are saying that they thought they were the only ones, and so did the rest of us. I can't go into specific details about what happened between me and Joe Robe because it is quite not safe for work and TikTok will immediately take it down. But I'll try and give as much information as I can without this getting taken down. So Joe Robe followed me when I didn't have a lot of followers, and he had around, I think, 300 to 400k. I would go check to get the exact time and numbers that he did have, but unfortunately he's deactivated all 3 of his accounts on social media, so I can't see the DMs. We didn't talk too much, we DM'd and commented on each other's stuff, sometimes duetted each other, and I thought we were friends. Then 2 days before my birthday, he DM'd me and asked me for my Snapchat. And around that time was the time where he started to actually get pretty big on TikTok. So of course I added him because I looked up to the guy and he was posting the same stuff as me, and he was doing really well on TikTok. And then my birthday came around and he wished me a happy birthday. And then a little bit after that is when he came out to me personally before he actually came out on TikTok. And so I saw that as a sign of trust, and so I really trusted the guy. And then he abused and misused that trust and tried to get me to do things and was sending me things that I didn't want. And I felt like I couldn't say no because, I don't know, I felt like I trusted him, and then I felt bad for him because of all the shit he was getting on TikTok and all the hate that he was getting. And so I feel like he's just abusing and misusing his platform and this trust that he's getting with his fans, and he's using it for these nefarious purposes. And as I said before, he has deactivated all 3 of his social media accounts, and he's pretty much gone MIA. So please, if anybody you know that is in contact with Joe Robe, please.
Hello, TikTok. I'm going to be talking about my story of this man right here, and if it gets taken down for harassment or bullying, I will be livid. It all starts about 7 months ago when he follows me back. I almost instantly messaged him saying, "Hey dude, I'm a big fan. I can't believe you followed me back. Do you think you'd want to play Minecraft sometime?" Because I asked most of my new mutuals if they wanted to play Minecraft because I was addicted to the game at the time. He hit me back nearly instantly with a, "Oh, sure, of course. Here's my Snapchat and here's my Xbox tag." As to which I added both of them because I wanted new people to play Minecraft with, and I looked up to him. And here's where things started. That night, me and John played for around 6 hours total on one Minecraft world and got pretty damn far in it. And we both were having a lot of fun. We both stayed up late talking, and we did this for the next week. We stayed up like till 2 to 4 a.m. talking to each other and playing Minecraft, and it was great. I could not have asked for more. And I didn't suspect a thing. I figured we were just friends talking, playing Minecraft together, because that's what friends did. And I'd say around 3 weeks later, he started asking like different questions, like, what state do you live in? And do your parents let you travel? And do you like to travel? And and I gave him full honesty. And as to which I do, or I did. And I didn't talk much about it, but I trusted him enough to tell him. So I told him everything. And then he answered, "Great, thanks for telling me." And then stopped talking to me for about 4 days, which was irregular because we talked like every day. And then one day he messaged me and went, "Hey, can I FaceTime you?" As to which we FaceTimed. And we and him talked about those TikTok conventions that used to happen once a year where you'd go to and like talk to people and the big content creators you like to follow. And he asked if I wanted to go to one with him. I agreed because that was great. I would have loved to. And he offered to buy me a room with him or like an apartment or whatever it was at the time. And I was getting ready to go. Things were great. It was wonderful. He offered to buy me alcohol, like before. We never went. I'm going to specify. We never went. But he offered to buy me drinks there. And this is the one quote I remember him talking to me about. I may be a pastor, or I may work for God, but I'm not against kids having fun.
So at the end of the day, the only really bad part about this story is that Joe Robe never faced any sort of criminal charges. He never faced any sort of pursuit by a lawyer or the victims of the crimes that he committed. And he's gone silent. Everything he's ever had posted on the internet is gone now. He's deleted his TikToks. He deleted his YouTube. He's not trying to pull an EDP and make all sorts of Instagram and everything else to try and get back on social media, which is good, but it is also bad that he didn't get any kind of criminal pursuit that sent him into jail where he actually belongs, along with his friend Aaron. All these kids, all these victims out there who had to suffer through this, I hope they're getting help now. I hope they're getting better. I hope there's some sort of outreach for them to be able to get the sort of nurture that they need now. And it's a real shame when I see this kind of thing happen. And the other big shame is that I have to put this guy's face on the video. Guys, I am not a violent person. I am not an overly angered or rage-inducing person, but this guy's face on my screen while I'm trying to edit this video makes me want to punch it so bad. I gotta say, I'm putting it up here for a good reason, though. I'm putting it up here because I do not want this guy to ever come back to the internet. If you see anything made by this dude, when he shaves his little pedo stash and tries to come back on here, like a lot of these creepos do, let somebody know right away. Get this guy deleted from all forms of social media. Let your local churches and youth groups know this is not the guy to hire. These are the kind of people we need to work together to keep off the internet. If you agree with me, then let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I've been the Inksmith. I hope you have a great rest of the day.